Good morning all. It is the 28th of November 2023. It's in the morning. I have my crankshaft sprocket in the oven at 450 degrees in the kitchen heating up for about half an hour. That was a tip left to me by one of my viewers in a comment section. I'd actually done that before but kind of forgot about that, so it was a nice reminder. Thank you very much for that. That should make it go on the crankshaft much easier later on when I take it into the shop. I'm back at my house right now. Wanted to illustrate what I discovered about the power steering hoses that I messed up on and spent more money on than I shouldn't have, once again. So down here on the ground are the hoses in question. This is the original hose here that connects to the steering gear on that end and goes to the high pressure line from the pump on this end, and I wanted to replace it. And I kept running into this one. In fact, I already had this one in my possession because the guy that sold me the power steering pump included this hose at no extra charge, and it looked different to me because the ends here, the ends are different. But what I didn't realize at the time, and only realized just last night, is that the high pressure line, the original one, has this extra coupler on it. That coupler is what used to connect to the old line, but the new line doesn't need that coupler because it has the correct fitting right here that goes right into the new hose. And I checked the fitment and it does in fact fit. So I've actually had the proper hose in my possession this whole time. So now all I have to do is put this on the steering gear and I can do the master cylinder and all that stuff. So just wanted to illustrate. I kind of messed up on that. And now I have this extra line that I bought, not realizing it wasn't the one I needed. So that's the high pressure line that comes from the power steering pump. It costs so much to send these things back, I'm just going to keep it as a spare. So if you need one, let me know. And I also got this custom-made hose here that they did have, Mark II Enterprises, and it's very, very nice hose. So that'll replace this one right here, which is cracked. The only one they didn't have is this little tiny one right here. And that one I'm going to have to source some other way, or maybe I can take it to a local hydraulic shop or something that might be able to rebuild it for me or something. I'm not really sure yet what I'm going to do with that piece. But the main one was this high pressure line here. So I feel pretty silly about that, but you know, lesson learned. I just wanted to illustrate that I now have both of my lines, my new lines, connected to my rebuilt steering gear. There's the power brake booster sitting in place with this nice hose wrapped around it like it's supposed to be. Here's my new master cylinder, courtesy of Brian in Kentucky. That will sit here like so, and I'm just going to kind of set it in place. I'm not actually going to finish this part of it right now. I just wanted to get that on there for now. I think it's been about 30 minutes. I can take my sprocket. I can't talk this morning. It's cold outside. I'll take that to the shop and continue with the engine work. All right, I quickly made my way over here from my oven in my kitchen to the shop. This is what I use to transport the hot sprocket, a little metal box, and the oven mitts. That's the new one on there. I used the old one to tap it on, and it worked. Using my MacGyver skills, I found a way to mount the motor mount here temporarily at the end of the engine stand, just using the nut that's going to eventually hold that to the frame of the car. And here's my drill set up, all battery operated. I've already got one through, and this is the bolt that must fit through it. So that worked out really well. And I just have the other one to do, and then the other mount. And that part will be done, and I can put it on the engine block. Quick update here. Finally got the motor mounts mounted. I ended up having to get a round file just to manually remount the openings so I could spread them apart enough to get the bolts in. So they're mounted now. You may notice the oil pan has been removed again. The reason I did that is because I discovered that I actually had used the incorrect gasket for the oil pump. So I got another one. This one actually says it should work on this engine. The years right, the engine size, all that stuff. So I just went ahead and took it off. It might not have made a lick of difference, but I feel better having the one that's supposed to be on there. So that's where I'm at now. All right, I reinstalled the oil pump with the correct steel, and I feel better about that, using the correct gasket, because it definitely matches the shape of the oil pump face itself. So I feel good that I did that. Got the oil pan cover back on, or the oil pan back on. Now I'm going to work on the timing chain and sprockets. I already showed you putting in the crank sprocket earlier today. Here's the camshaft one, much bigger, and it can only be installed one way because the holes only match up one way. You just have to make sure you face it the right way, which is pretty easy to do because you want to find the little mark, which is hard to see, but it's right there, that little tiny dimple, which is going to match up with the corresponding dimple on the other sprocket. That's how we're going to align it properly, so the valve timing and everything is correct. So, and I also looked at my shop manual to make sure I get all these in the right sequence and so forth. And my new chain is right there. I will lubricate it eventually with oil, probably after I have the engine, or rotate the engine back around so the oil will drip into the pan. All right, I have the camshaft sprocket temporarily installed just so I can get the marks lined up. You can see the little dots right there across from each other where they're supposed to be. The new chain. Of course, I have to take the bottom sprocket back off to get the chain on. That's what's coming next. All right, now with the engine rotated, timing chain installation is complete. These have been torqued down to about 21, 22 foot-pounds. The little locking tabs have been re-engaged. And this little slinger is the concave side faces the engine according to the shop manual, and my pictures that I took beforehand verify that. So that's back on the way it's supposed to be. So I just need to pour some oil on that new timing chain, and then I believe I can put the cover on. All right, little update. I had to prepare this cover that I'm using for my old engine. It's quite a mess inside. In fact, the old push rod that was in there was all stuck and corroded and whatnot, so I had to clean that out. I just used the old push rod just to clean itself out. Just poured some oil down there, and the one I'm going to use here slides nice and easy through there like it should. So here's the new gasket, and I'm going to pour some oil right now on this timing chain, let it drip into the pan, and then I'll start putting the cover on. All right, I'm going to wrap this up for the day, I think. I had a good day, had a lot of fun, and I mean that seriously. This is great fun for me. I enjoy it thoroughly. Just to highlight or summarize what I did today, now that the engine's back upright and everything is set with the timing chain and all that, the engine doesn't need to rotate anymore, so I've reinstalled the spark plugs to keep debris from falling inside the cylinders. The new motor mounts are installed. Hopefully they're going to work, considering I had to modify the holes to even get them mounted to the block. But they should. They better, or Rock Auto is going to be hearing from me. But anyway, so the timing chain and gear, the new one, is installed. I had to clean up this cover, this timing case cover. This came off of the engine I'm not keeping because it was pretty corroded inside. Plus the push rod for the fuel pump was seized in there, so I had to push that out and clean it up and lubricate everything in there. And this push rod is the one that came with this engine. It's in better shape. So that's all set. Got the alternator brackets and the alternator itself sitting there now. I would have done more, but I didn't have the mounting bolts for the power steering pump, so I couldn't put that on there yet. So I got to go find those, and I can't do the water pump yet because I need the bypass hose, which goes right here, 7/8 custom size. I mean, yeah, I could probably take care of that myself, but I've already ordered it. Same with this gasket that goes here for the oil filter housing. So hey, looking good. Right now, I feel like I'm on track to actually try and do the swap next week on Monday. I'm supposed to have done it this week on Monday, but that didn't work out because of the problems I had with the rear main seal and all that. But overall, I'm very pleased. I think she's looking pretty good. So y'all have a nice day. Thank you.